Hey, my name's Dave. I'm with Freedom Boat Club. Today I'm going to go over a 100-hour service with you. First thing for the 100-hour service, we're going to remove the cowl. There's 3 clips. 1, 2, and 3. One up here at the front. You're going to take the cowl off. In doing so, be mindful that the cowl can be damaged. So try to set it in a safe place. Next, you're going to have oil pump. So right here is your dipstick. You're going to put the oil pump into the dipstick location. Pump will then bottom out at the bottom. Oil pump has positive and negative connections. You're going to take your positive and negative leads. So setting up the oil pump, most engines are going to be marked. Usually they're going to have the wires actually marked so it's got a positive, negative lead. You're going to hook up positive lead, and then you're going to hook up your negative lead. And then you're going to go over to the pump and turn the switch on the pump. Your pump's a little different, but this pump, turn on the on switch, this will filter out all your oil. Next step, generally what I like to do while that's going on, is move to the lowers. So now I'm going to go over how to basically do the lowers. You got your flathead screwdriver, you got your 90-weight gear oil. Alright, so for the lowers, you have 2 screws. You have 1 screw here, you have 1 screw up here. Both require flathead. So, want to make sure you have a pan position underneath. Pull out that screw, and then you're going to pull out the top screw. Which will then also allow it to flow a little better. So now we're going to let the lower oil drain, and while we're doing that, I'm going to take you guys back up to the top. We'll finish up the rest of the service up on the top of the engine. Alright. So now we're going to go ahead and change the filters on these. We got the oil filter here, and we got a fuel filter here, and we also have a fuel filter up front here underneath on the boat side. So, fuel filters are just like any other bolt, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. So, I went ahead and loosened this already, but the tool you would use is just some sort of filter wrench. You put it on here, and you would turn it this way to loosen it. So, take off this oil filter. Here's replacement oil filter. You're going to put your new oil filter on. When you do so, you want to take a little bit of used oil, whether it's, I'm just going to use a little bit of used oil from the lowers. You're going to basically put it around the O-ring. And you're going to put your new filter on, turning it to the right. For these, you do not want to use a filter wrench. You'll crush the filter. So you want to try to just get it as hand tight as you can possibly get it. So it just kind of stops turning by hand. And that's it. Good thing too to do is to take your hours from your engine, write it down on here with a date and your engine hours, so you can keep track of that and know the last time you did it. So I'm going to show you guys how to replace the fuel filter on the engine side. So fuel filter, canister style filter, same thing, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. You're going to basically start undoing this a little bit. Sometimes too, to make it a little easier on yourself, depending on how much wire, how much you got down here. There is a sensor in here. There's basically this blue. If you press this, undo this plug. This is your fuel water separator. So this tells you if you have water in the fuel. That's what that sensor lead goes to. And you basically take this out. Use your pinky and pull that out. Sometimes it's a little hard to get out, so you can just use a little flathead screwdriver. When I take that out, just be mindful that you're not to spill the other fuel. You're going to have another fuel filter in place. This basically will go up the whole opening, will go towards the top. I'm going to drop that in there. You can leave all the old fuel in there, it's fine. Here's your lead. So you're going to put it back on, turning it to the right. Just hand tight, don't go too much because you don't want to break it. Then you're going to plug your pigtail connection back in. A 2-port to a 2-port. That. And that's your engine fuel filter side. Now we're going to go ahead and show you how to change the filter on the boat side. Standard, pretty much most boats are going to have some sort of panel to the back, whether it be underneath the seat or visible. Sometimes it could be a round type, compartment, or it could be square. This particular boat, this is the location. Turn these tabs. You gotta pull this panel off. For this, the only tool you'll need again is your filter wrench. Sometimes it's on pretty tight. Again, I went ahead and loosened it up for us, but it's the same as any other filter. Righty tighty, lefty loosey. So with this, I'm going to take this filter off. There is going to be fuel in here, so just make sure you can set it up. This fuel, you don't really have to reuse, you can just trash. Again, these filters sit straight up, so they don't fall. We'll take your replacement filter. Again, they have a place on here. Put your date and hours on there. So this filter, again, it's going to be righty tighty, lefty loosey. Again, you're going to go hand tight. You don't want to use a wrench because you can crush it. And this fuel wire, on the fuel hose here, you do have a bulb. You're going to have to basically put the fuel back in the filter. So you're just going to basically prime the fuel bulb, basically until it's hard. You pretty much can't squeeze too much anymore. And it'll fill up this filter in here. So there, it's pretty solid. And that's all it is for that, for your fuel filter on your boat side. Again, then you just want to put your cover back on. You're good to go. So now we're back down to the lowers. The lowers, as you can see, are pretty much done. They're just dripping a little bit. Just gonna clean them up. You got your 2 bolts, one for your top, one for your bottom on your lowers. You're gonna want to inspect the O-rings, the O-ring gaskets. Just make sure that they're all intact. Everything's good on these. You're gonna take your pump. A couple different pumps in the market. This is a little hand pump. You're gonna put this in. This is threaded. Again, righty tighty, lefty loosey. Just gonna thread this on until it's tight. You're gonna take this hand pump. You're just gonna pump your oil back in. Generally takes about 1 quart of gear lube. The reason you want to pump it up from the bottom and not from the top is so that it fills all the little channels in here. For any of the lowers, you just want to keep basically putting gear oil in it until it comes out the top, regardless of how much it takes. So there you go. You got the gear oil coming out the top now. So what I'm going to do is I have my two here. I'm going to put basically do one extra pump or two Put the plug in the top. Basically it'll stop some of the air from getting in, so when I pull the plug in the bottom, it doesn't come out as fast. This is the little trickier part. Down here at the bottom, you gotta be pretty quick at this. You are gonna lose some, but you put enough in, a little bit, it's not, losing a little bit's not gonna hurt you too much. Use your flathead again. Some of these on some of the other engines are star keys or whatever, hex key, but on Yamaha it's just a flathead. You put it on there pretty tight, as tight as you can get it. If you need to use a little wrench with a screwdriver or something like that, that's best. Clean it up and you're good to go. So now we're going to put the oil back in the engine. You're going to remove your oil pump. Out of the dipstick. You take your dipstick. It's got holes on here, one at the top, one at the bottom, to indicate your full marks and low marks. Put your dipstick back in. Alright, so now we're going to put the oil back into the engine. You're going to undo the oil cap. These engines generally take about 4 quarts. Sometimes it could be a little bit over. Just depends on how much is actually drained out, how long what the pump is able to actually get out of it. So. Right at about 4 quarts, you're going to want to start checking to make sure that you're on the dipstick and where you're at in the dipstick. It's showing up. Before I add any more, I'm probably going to let it sit for about 5 minutes and just see where it settles to. And then I'll add a little more accordingly to just what it needs. Again, if you ended up adding just a little bit too much, you can always use this pump again, remove a little bit, get to your mark of where you need to be. So. Alright, now we got the oil in the engine, we got the proper amount. Take your funnel out and just put the cap on. We're ready to tell you after Lucy. At this point too, we can go ahead and disconnect our oil pump. Then I'll get down and put the cowl back on and we're good to go. So put the cowl back on. I'm going to be mindful of it. Again, you got your 3 clips. 1, 2, and 1 up front. That's going to be your 100-hour service.